I'm 33, a guy, and it's hard to believe it's been 6 years since I tied the knot with my amazing wife. When people talk about the ups and downs of marriage, I never really thought we had any bad times. She was always on top of things, waking up early, managing her tasks, cooking, going to work, you name it. I relied on her a lot. I didn't complete my education as planned, but I found myself in a decent paying job that kept me afloat without accumulating debt. Interestingly, my wife pulls in a paycheck that's 10 times more than mine, working for an IT company. But I've never let that bother me. Before we met, my life was a roller coaster. I had a car business, lost everything, home, cars, even my then girlfriend thanks to former friends who betrayed me and ran off with my money. That's a story for another day. After that ordeal, I left my hometown and ended up in a new state, feeling pretty hopeless. That's when poker entered my life, introduced by a buddy. I lost a lot initially, but with time, I became skilled and started making good money. I took pride in having no vices, no drinking, no smoking. Life was looking up. Every Sunday, I made it a point to attend a specific church, finding solace in prayer. And then, out of the blue, this stunning woman approached me. She noticed I wasn't fluent in the local language and struck up a conversation. I'm not one to easily engage with locals, being more of an introvert, but she was familiar with me somehow. She revealed she had been watching me during prayers and at Massachusetts. Back then, my only source of hope was in God. We started chatting and life felt carefree. My poker game was going strong, and after 6 Sundays of talking, she invited me over for lunch and asked for my number. Excitement and nerves mixed as I, an outsider, found myself drawn to this woman who seemed way out of my league, practically perfect in every way. After that fantastic lunch at her place where her family, especially her dad, turned out to be wonderful folks, things took an unexpected turn. Her dad inquired about my reasons for being there, so I gave him a brief rundown of my poker-filled story. They seemed a bit uneasy, understandably so. Poker isn't exactly a conventional career path, but I was upfront about it, explaining that, at the very least, I had moved beyond the pain of my past and was just going with the flow of life. Following the meal, she suggested we take a ride on my bike somewhere. I was surprised and relieved that her parents approved, considering our traditional backgrounds. Despite the state being full of foreigners, the dating scene remained conservative due to our upbringing. We spent a year and a half cruising around on that bike. It became a significant part of our story. After that stretch, she started delving into some personal matters. At that point, I hadn't tied the knot, and being somewhat of a loner, her friendship meant a lot to me. So, I opened up completely to her. There was this feeling that she was just as friendly with me as she was with everyone else, always offering help. In the 6 times I'd spent with her, she seemed to know everyone in our circle and was there to assist in both religious and friendship matters. After chatting for nearly 2 hours, as it got close to 6 o'clock in the evening, she asked about my future plans and if I had any intention of getting married someday. I responded with a no, as I was already pushing 27 and had lost faith in relationships. However, she reassured me, saying it wasn't a big deal, urging me to live a life with purpose and ambitions. We went back and forth in a debate. I thought that kind of life wasn't for me, but she was adamant that she was right. Skipping the romantic details, as we kept talking, we started developing feelings for each other. After dating for 8 months, during which time we hadn't gone beyond a few hugs and kisses, we decided to tie the knot. Nothing major, as I mentioned, we both come from traditional backgrounds. The wedding went off well, both families were happy, and my mom was especially delighted considering she thought I'd never settle down. My father passed away a few years ago. The first night was a mix of shyness and excitement. It went well, no complaints. I'd experienced previous sexual relationships, but what truly surprised me was that she was still a virgin even at the age of 23. I asked her how and why she managed to stay a virgin until 23, and she simply said she was waiting for the right partner. Her words about wanting me to quit poker felt like I was on top of the world during the honeymoon phase. Our intimacy was fantastic, happening at least twice a day. Even though I desired a bit more, I never pushed her or made her feel obligated. In my eyes, she was an absolute angel, and I was determined not to upset her with even a single word or action. Life was going well. I took a break from playing poker for a bit, having a decent amount of money and being a newlywed. However, trouble started brewing about 3 months into our marriage. I found out about a poker tournament with a substantial prize pool, and I really wanted to participate. When I shared my plans with her, the first bombshell hit me. She wanted me to quit playing poker and get any job, just not poker. I was puzzled and asked for clarification. She explained that she didn't consider poker a legitimate way to earn money. In her eyes, it was just gambling, and the money wasn't truly earned through hard work. While I agreed with her on some points and tried to explain my perspective on the game, she managed to get her way by giving me an ultimatum: poker or her. Obviously, I chose her, even though poker wasn't my ultimate dream. It was more like a passion, a form of relief. After that, I snagged a job at a trading company, and I've been at it ever since. It's not some big fancy corporation, but given that I'm not a local guy and not highly educated, this was the best I could get. Meanwhile, my wife has been climbing the ladder and excelling in her career. Yet, she's never made me feel inferior or flaunted her success over me. We don't have kids, even though we're having regular intimate moments. I've confirmed that I'm capable of having children, but I'm hesitant to bring up the topic. A few months ago, she mentioned she'd rather die than live childless, so I've steered clear of that conversation. I've never attended any of her company events. She even once hinted that I wouldn't enjoy those gatherings given our current situation. I've been wanting to watch The Witcher for a while, but never found the time. Last Sunday, though, I finally had some free time and was eager to catch the show. I asked if she wanted to watch too, but she just wanted to relax. I said, "All right," and fired up Netflix. The show was gripping, but there were plenty of explicit scenes. I tried my best to skip or fast forward through them, but she was lounging on the couch and quipped that she understood why I was doing it. I've been dying to watch the series. I asked her what she meant by that. She replied, "You already know," and then walked off to the bedroom. That left me puzzled, so I paused the show and went after her to talk. She was in tears when I entered the room. I apologized and explained that I didn't realize the series had so many explicit scenes, promising I wouldn't watch it again. But little did I know what was about to unfold. She said she had something to confess and that she was sorry. I was a bit taken aback and fearful because the woman I knew had never done anything wrong or foolish. I reassured her that it was okay and that she could tell me anything. I never expected to hear that she had been having an affair with her boss for the past few months. My heart sank as I listened to her confession. She realized that I was incredibly faithful and devoted to her, doing everything in my power for her. The first time it happened was unintentional, she explained, as her boss was skilled at manipulating her with sweet talk and guilt, begging for her affection. As she spoke, my heart felt like it had been hit with a heavy blow. I nearly blacked out and my legs wouldn't move for a good 2 minutes. She later explained that seeing women portrayed lustfully on TV made her realize the magnitude of her betrayal. She couldn't stand the idea of me looking at a nude actress on screen, yet she somehow justified being intimate with her boss. I wasn't even feeling particularly lustful during the explicit scene that surprised me. The shock of her confession left me emotionally shattered. I got up, grabbed my phone and wallet, and started walking amid her loud cries. She pleaded for me to sit down and talk, assuring that anything could be forgiven if we talked it out. That's when I snapped. questioning her expectation of forgiveness for her affair. The last shred of respect I had left for her vanished. I walked out of the house and she followed me. As she approached, I shouted at her and picked up my pace, not wanting our neighbors to witness the scene. After a bit, she stopped chasing me, and I kept walking for nearly 3 hours. Eventually, I realized I was emotionally shattered and needed to take some action. Otherwise, I might as well have been walking to my own demise. I found a nearby ticket booking office, got myself a ticket, and made my way back to my home state. When I arrived at my house, my mom was understandably baffled and asked why I was there abruptly. I told her that I was done with this life, needing some rest, and that we'd talk in the morning. She seemed perplexed, but agreed. My brother inquired about my sudden appearance and asked where my wife was. The house belongs to him, as he's the one who bought it before all of this. We had been renting that house for quite a while, which is why it always felt like our home. I let him know that I'd be leaving in a few hours. I spoke to my mom, informing her that we were getting a divorce and asking her not to pry. Then I left. She was puzzled, wanting a proper explanation, but all I could repeat was that I was finished with this life. I moved out of the house and found a hotel to stay in, reaching out to lawyers for legal advice. A friend of mine, who happens to be a lawyer, referred me to a divorce attorney who advised me to be patient since the process takes time, considering the other party and all. As for my ex-wife, my former angel, I don't use Facebook or any social media, and I blocked her number on my phone. I have no clue how many times she's tried to reach me, as she's unaware I'm still in my home state. Likely because she hasn't yet called my mom. However, she has sent me text messages. In those texts, she's poured her heart out, expressing how devastated she is and asking me to return home so we can have an honest conversation. She's been talking about how she's accepted my flaws and sees only the good in me. Yet, she feels I'm not reciprocating. She even reminded me of the vow we made to be together forever. The message was quite lengthy, and I'm not quite sure what to make of it all. In her recent messages, she's been telling me that she initially thought I was a good partner, but now she recognizes that I'm her soulmate, and she can't imagine life without me. She's tormented by thoughts of betrayal and guilt, mentioning how these feelings are affecting me. She even admitted to attempting to harm herself, but stopped when she thought about me, and so on. I decided not to read the rest of her messages. If I did, I might have been swayed to reach out to her or learn her side of the story. Thus, I deleted all the messages without reading them because keeping them could weaken my resolve. It's true she possesses many positive qualities, but her act of cheating has overshadowed them all. I'm pouring out my thoughts here because I'm an introvert, and I've steered away from forming close friendships due to past traumas involving betrayal. Going through a divorce has been tough, and I needed an outlet to express my emotions and perhaps find some solace. Thank you for listening, and I apologize if my English and grammar aren't perfect. It's evident there's a significant breakdown in communication between my ex-wife and me. Both sides likely contributed to the issues at hand. While cheating is undoubtedly a grave mistake, she's responsible for her actions. It's disheartening that she made that choice. I understand she might have had concerns about my gambling, and perhaps I haven't fully grasped the gravity of the situation. Still, her infidelity isn't justified. If she felt a certain way, she should have communicated directly. My reaction upon finding out was raw and understandable. Sometimes you just need to step back and take a walk to clear your head. This situation emphasizes how crucial communication is in a relationship. Without it, both individuals can end up in entirely different places or narratives. My wife took the initiative to inform her workplace and our department about the situation, eventually resigning from her job. She also spoke to her parents and attempted to contact me. Unaware of all this until just the day before yesterday, I maintained no contact and sought refuge in a yoga ashram to find clarity. Returning home to my mom, she revealed that my wife had been hospitalized for 3 days due to a suicide attempt involving an overdose of pills. My mom had tried to reach me, but I had turned off my phone, oblivious to the situation. Feeling conflicted, I didn't know what steps to take. However, I knew I didn't want her to die, or at the very least, I needed confirmation if this was genuine. I promptly booked the next available flight, with her father's assistance, and arrived at the hospital. There she was, still not fully conscious and in critical condition. The doctors assured us they were doing their utmost. Her parents informed me that she had written a letter addressed to me, and I received it. The letter spanned 4 pages, but essentially conveyed her deep remorse for the affair, acknowledging her mistake and recognizing that she couldn't continue living with me due to her guilt. Yet, she also couldn't bear to be without me. The letter outlined her internal struggle and pondering of options, ultimately expressing her intention to end her own life. She emphasized that this decision was intentional and she was solely responsible for it. No one else played a role. I'm at a loss about what to do next. She was still unconscious at that point, her parents simply by her side, not taking any further action. Eventually, after a long wait, she regained consciousness during the night. However, we were advised not to disturb her, so we patiently waited. There was another couple with us from the beginning. Turns out it was my wife's boss and his wife, the same boss who had been involved in the affair with my wife. After the suicide attempt, the police got involved due to her father-in-law's involvement, and both of them were questioned. I didn't know how to react at the time. Anger filled me, but I understood that acting on it might land me in jail. Despite the raging anger within me, I remained silent, waiting for the right moment, knowing that my emotions could erupt at any time. Yesterday, the doctor informed us that she's stable but needs more time to recover completely. The process will likely take about a month for her to fully bounce back. We brought her to her parents' place yesterday evening, and that's where we are right now. She expressed a desire to see me and have a conversation once she found out I was here. However, I suggested that we talk after we reached her parents' home. I'm uncertain about what lies ahead.